wanting to give something back to the business and wanting to like prove something to myself. So I feel like I'm still like a student of the game. You know, you're always gonna keep learning no matter how long you've been doing it. I don't hate on nobody that's in this business because we're a family. We're in this together.
Do you ever like sit down and think about, I wrestled some of like the biggest names in wrestling?
I wrestled Jay White twice. If we ever get the third match, I definitely want to avenge that and I want to come correct, be 100%.
You against Matt Hardy.
You know, that man's a true professional. So shout outs to Matt Hardy, the first ever Crown Jewel champion.
What was that experience like for you?
I feel great seeing House of Glory do great things. Shout out the Amazing Red. Make sure your outside life is good and then wrestling is gonna be here. You know, this ain't going nowhere. You gotta like really be all in. It has to work. I have to be somewhat good at this. So the Killionaires formatted like this.
RingVille episode, Can Broadway.
Yo, what's up everyone? How you doing? My name is Kevin Herrera Sanchez, KHS, and welcome to another episode of RingVille. Today, I have the absolute pleasure of summoning wrestled for House of Glory, Expect the Unexpected Wrestling, Ashe, GCW, Knocktown All-Pro, St. Louis Anarchy. He is 1/3 of the Killionaires Club, Cash Flow, Ken Broadway. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you for having me.
Yo, thank you very much for taking the time to sit down with me.
You know, like I told you, I've been a huge fan watching the shows, you know, ever since you interviewed like Nikolai White and Smiley and Bougie and those guys. So, you know, it was a matter of time, but you know, the time has come.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So,
The time is now.
yep, time is now.
But man, yeah, thank you very much for taking the time to sit down with me. You're here in New York for Expect the Unexpected.
Yep.
And it's going to be a great show.
Phenomenal. Yep.
One of the first things I wanted to talk to you about was you've been wrestling for 12 years.
Yep.
And that's over a decade.
Very long time, yeah.
And in those 12 years, how do you think you yourself have evolved as a wrestler when it comes to your in-ring presentation, but also your character presentation?
I made all the mistakes, you know, early on in my career that led me to where I'm at. You know, I feel like I'm a more smarter wrestler. I'm like more of a businessman. I'm treating this business more like a business, like what it is. I feel like I've done all the mistakes, you know, like doing all the stupid moves that I shouldn't be doing, you know, a guy like my size. Also, I feel like I'm still like a student of the game, you know, you're always gonna keep learning no matter how long you've been doing it. You know, there's guys that have been doing 20 years, you know, plus, and you know, it's still always something to learn in professional wrestling. So I feel like my style, I feel like I've definitely become more comfortable in who I am as a wrestler. And now I feel like things are starting to come to fruition. You know, I'm 30 years old. I started training when I was 18. You know what I'm saying? So like, I feel like in my case, when I was younger, like me making those mistakes prepared me for like what's to come next. Like I've done backstage extra work at WWE 3 times. You know, I've never got called to do anything, no security or nothing, but I've been there backstage. I've done the AEW dark, you know, stuff. So like seeing like how things operate and how professional they are, you know, they're like gave me insight into well, like I need to take myself more professional. You know, I can't just be like this, you know, just weekend warrior or just, you know, like if I really want this, you gotta like really be all in. And I feel like a lot of times, like when I was younger, I was like halfway in, halfway out. You know, I was like always distracted. You know, I would like sometimes like be all in on wrestling, but still be distracted by other things going on in my life. You know, so I feel like overall, past 12 years, just to sum it up, I feel like it just kind of like made me a better man. You know, in my life. You know, besides wrestling, just made me an overall better person.
12 years. It's
Yeah.
like not only is it such like just an incredible length for a career, right? Like some people don't get to do it that long.
Right.
And I would say that you have been, for the most part, successful in those 12 years to where it's like you're wrestling, you're in great shape, people know who you are, people come to see you.
I appreciate that, yeah.
You know, of course. And it's like, how does then that like feel for you to like, okay, like the path that you're on is working?
I tried to like not compare myself to like other people, you know, like, and that's a lot of what like distracts people or get people deterred from continuing being, you know, this wrestling business. Like a lot of people like compare themselves to like, oh, this guy who just started like 2-3 years ago who's getting eyes on the WWE, or this guy's green, he shouldn't be getting this opportunities. I don't hate on nobody that's in this business because we're a family, we're in this together. So I look at it as, okay, you know, I've been doing this for a very long time. You know, a lot of guys that I came up with, you know, like guys like Private Party, they're on TV, they're doing their thing. And I look at it as like, you know what? I appreciate, you know, the time and the journey. I appreciate the journey, more importantly, like just the grind and hustle. Because when my time does happen, when the contracts does come, when the contract does come to me in my hands, then it's like it's just it's gonna feel that much greater knowing that I like really stuck it out and really been in the trenches and really, grinded and perfected my craft. And I feel like not comparing yourself to the next person is really what it is for me. Like I said, it's a really cutthroat business. A lot of people, trying to get to the next spot, and I feel like being humble, just staying true to yourself, sticking through with it, knowing, that everything is going to work out in your favor. And even if it don't, like, we're all chasing our dreams. We're all doing this. We all grew up wanting to be professional wrestlers. So if the thing doesn't happen, you still chase your dream. You still live your dream out. You know what I'm saying? So I have no regrets.
Being in the trenches and just kind of defining your skills. And the place where you did that was House of Glory.
Yes, sir.
You trained there. Were you training there when they were still in that like red room?
Oh yeah, the little boxing gym.
The little boxing gym?
The little boxing gym in Brooklyn. Yeah, it was like half boxing, half wrestling. And I started January 2013. So senior year of high school, I was actually, crazy story, I was actually gonna train at Johnny Rod's school.
Okay.
In Brooklyn.
And Gleason's?
Gleason's gym. I was gonna train at Gleason's. And so senior year of high school, I went to him. Like, actually went there and was thinking about, I told him, I was like, I want to be a wrestler. I got one more year of high school, and I was thinking, because my mom wanted me to go to college. And I was like, okay, I'll probably go to college, check it out, just to make her happy. But I really wanted to be a wrestler.
Right.
So I went to him. He told me his prices and things like that. And it was an arm and a leg, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't working at the time. So I was like, all right, cool. Graduated high school, started college, and eventually I ended up just going online one random day and just looking up wrestling schools in New York, and House of Glory came up. And it was open for like about a year at that point, a year and a half, I would say. Yeah. And his price and Red and Brian's prices, they were like, it kind of aligned with mine. So I was like, okay, it's the obvious choice is there. Eventually I graduated August 2013. I went to summer school that year. First time ever going to summer school was my senior year of high school. Almost didn't make
Last year?
Last year, man. Last year.
That senioritis hit you a little bit?
Yeah, man, yeah. Yeah, they gave us a bullshit graduation in the cafeteria, whatever. So graduated August 2013. Started college that next month. I went to BMCC. Dropped out that first semester. And then that's when I started like looking into like the House of Glory stuff online. And then I started working at LaGuardia Airport. That was my first ever job.
Okay.
I was a barista, making coffee and stuff. And then eventually, like that first week working there, I messaged Ryan on Facebook. I said, hey, my name's Ken. I've been interested in becoming a wrestler. I wanted to do this my whole life, yada, yada. And he was like, cool. I think they had a show around that weekend or whatever, I'd say. So I went to that show, pulled up, it was phenomenal. I talked to him. And then, long story short, the first 3 weeks of me working at LaGuardia, I quit. I quit that, took that whole paycheck. It was about like $500. And it was a good job too, man. It was when minimum wage was $7.25, and that job was paying me $9 an hour full time. So
okay.
At that time, that was decent money.
Extra $2.
Yeah, that was decent money. So I quit, gave Brian the full $500, tuition and 1 month startup, and then rest history.
So when you get into House of Glory, right? What are the things that start clicking for you when it comes to the actual trainer?
Things started clicking for me, honestly, like relatively quickly, and
Flex.
what I'm saying, like relatively quickly. But I gotta say, it's thanks to my trainer. Shout out the amazing Red.
For sure.
My trainer, and then just my peers. Like that first class, it was me. It was Private Party. It was Smiley. What I'm saying, it was a bunch of us that was like, we were all hungry. We all pushed each other to like be good, and we would have things like, we would have like we would play horse where like some guy would like have to do something, we would mimic it, like whether it's a spot or like doing something off the top rope. So it was just like, we really was just hungry for real, and I really just wanted it. I was hungry, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, college didn't work, I was just working dead end jobs at the time. So I'm like, what, this thing has to work. I have to be somewhat good at this, for at least, my mom to not, be like, what is he doing? He's the Lulu, you know what I'm saying? So. Yeah, it happened relatively quickly, and I didn't have my first match until I would say that August. So I started training January 2013. I had my first match around August.
Okay. And what was that experience like for you?
Oh man, it was crazy. And it was up in Maine. I forgot the promotion. It was called like,
So it wasn't even with House of Glory?
it wasn't even House of Glory. It was in Maine. It was called IWE, I believe the company's name was. And it was myself and Bones facing Ace Romero and his tag team partner. I think his name was Crash Landing.
Okay.
Yeah, this is like Ace Romero, like, you know, first starting out Ace Romero. Right. So it was a tag team match. It was like some outdoor like convention they was doing. And I don't know where that clip is. If anybody knows where it is or y'all can find it, you know, internet, do y'all thing. But at the time, I thought the match was good. You know, we got the victory. I thought the match was good. The fans loved us. But I know if I watch it back,
You're just gonna be like, yo.
Yeah. At these like blue like shorts, like, you know, Brian Kendrick, Paul London, like blue and white gear, and just yeah. But it was a good experience though.
You've been in the ring with superstars, like some of the best wrestlers in the world, like Jay White, for example.
Yep.
Like, do you ever like sit down and think about that in terms of just like, yo, I wrestled some of like the biggest names in wrestling?
I do, man, and you know, it's like, it's one of those things where it's like Ryan Excel and Amazing Red, they just had faith in me to put me in the ring and give me those opportunities against those guys. You know, guys on TV, guys are like, who are the best in the world at what we do. Yeah. It's a side note, before you mention that, but like, I wrestled Jay White twice at House of Glory. And both times, man, it's just things in my personal life, I feel like affected that match where it could have been way better than what it was. Just dumb stuff I was doing, man. I'll explain more later, but like the first match with Jay White, I actually, I fractured my hand.
Okay.
Yeah, like getting into like
in the match?
No, not in the match, man. I went out like the night before, like just hanging with friends at a bar, being stupid. Got into a little fight, ended up punching a wall, dumb. You know what I'm saying? And I had to wrestle him 2 days after that. So I don't know if you guys go back and watch the match, you can see I had like a cast on, but like I wrapped it up with tape so you could see it. But like, I feel like that match could have been way better than what it was. And then the second match we had was when House of Glory came back after pandemic. And literally before that match at Limitless Wrestling, I messed up my knee. Messed up my knee bad. And I was out for a few months. And when it was time for that match to happen, I was excited. I wanted it, but I was just not in the best shape. Not in the best shape at all. So, you know, Jay White, that's one opponent I definitely like. You know, if we ever get the third match, I definitely want to avenge that. And I want to come correct, be 100% on point physically, mentally, all of that. So.
It was a time in like House of Glory, especially after the pandemic, where you just were on every show,
right?
And you won titles, right? And you were just like in or around the main centered storylines, right? Where it's like, what does that do for you?
Man, it did a lot. And you know, you said titles. I was the first Crown Jewel champion, man. It just means the world because you go back and look 10, 15, 20 years from now. And you look up House of Glory Wrestling, you know, you're gonna see Ken Broadway, first ever House of Glory Crown Jewel champion. And it's like, I feel great seeing House of Glory do great things. And like, you know, we're touring now, we're going to different cities, we're getting a different market. It's a whole new fan base from when I was there. Right. You know, I seen that like firsthand a few months ago. I was like, wow, this is different.
The growth,
yeah. And going back to the championship, like it's all like a good feeling seeing like your home promotion being talked about and being reviewed by like guys that like I look up to, or like being known by like guys in the business. Is like, you know, like they actually want to be there and want to work there and stuff. So yeah, it's a feel good experience, man. Like knowing that I helped out with it, you know, and that's really where I'm at, where my head is at right now. Is like I want to like help build House of Glory and be better, you know, like what's next, you know. Like we always been doing.
You mentioned earlier where you wrestled on AEW Dark, and one of the matches was you against Matt Hardy.
Yes, sir.
Which is one of like the GOATs, like just one of the greatest of all time.
Right.
What was that experience like for you?
Man, it was a crazy experience, man. And like I said, I mentioned before, I was backstage at WWE 3 times, 3 separate occasions. You know, shout outs to Mercedes Moné. You know. It was a crazy experience because at that time, I believe Matt Hardy, I think his father passed away.
Okay.
something like that. It was like fairly, I don't know if it was that day or whatever, but and I found out I was wrestling him, cool, whatever, and it just, you could see the look on his face, like he was feeling down about it, but when I was like calling the match with him and talking with him, he was just treated me with the utmost respect and was polite and like he wanted to work, you know what I'm saying? He didn't let like his outside problems like affect what we had going on, you know, so I was just like, this man's a true professional, you know, this is like somebody I aspire to be. This is somebody I watched, you know, in my room eating Cheetos at 5 years old, 4 years old, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, we had a great match, and it was supposed to actually be like a complete squash match, because he was feuding with Darby Allin at the time.
Okay.
And I asked him, I was like, Matt, can I just like get this one thing off? I wanted to do like, make it rain on the top rope, do a moonsault like I did. And he was like, yeah, man, like he was like open. He wanted to work, like he really wanted to wrestle. It could have just been a squash match, him phoning it in, going home, and
Right.
But he, that man's a true professional. So shout outs to Matt Hardy.
Shout out to Matt Hardy.
If you guys can go back and watch the match, it was, for me, I was very impressed with the way it turned out. My first experience on that level.
Right. So it's like, where is your mind when they tell you, hey, you're wrestling Matt Hardy?
Oh man, I was nervous, man, because you get there, they don't tell you like what you're doing right away. They got to wait till everybody gets there and production, things like that, and then they have a board where they write your name in the marker and it said me versus Matt Hardy. You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh, I didn't know who I was wrestling at the time. I don't know. So when they said that, I was like, yes.
That little kid inside of you.
Little kid, yeah, marking out, straight marking out. Yep.
And then you had another match where you teamed up with the main event in a 6-way tag. It's like that's people who also came from House of Glory.
Yes,
What was it like, just like wrestling and teaming with like your fellow students?
Oh, those, main event, those are my guys, man. Shout outs to Midas, shout outs to Jay. Like those are like my real life day ones, you know what I'm saying? Those are like my best friends, literally. So that trip was actually, I believe it was WrestleMania weekend out in Florida. So we was traveling there. We traveled there together, and it was a great experience, man. Like seeing, seeing Private Party there, seeing our friends there backstage, and just seeing how everything worked, you know what I'm saying? And being with my best friends for that experience, just like, it couldn't get no better, you know what I'm saying? It couldn't get no better, and we had a fun match. We wrestled the Dark Order, you know what I'm saying? We didn't pick up the win, but, you know what I'm saying, just being on that stage at that level with my best friends in this business, that I came up with, it's like, it don't get better than that.
And this was all around like after the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
Just to take it back a little bit, you used to live in New York, right? Born in Brooklyn, raised in Harlem.
Correct.
And then you moved out to St. Louis, Missouri. And then you took a break from wrestling, for like a year and a half or 2 years, right?
Yep.
What made you stop?
That's been an ongoing theme of like my career, I'd say. It's like I would have these moments where it's like, okay, I'm all in on wrestling, but then like my outside life is like messed up. I'm letting, I'm distracted by. I'm not taking care of what I need to take care of at home. So it's like, making that move from New York to St. Louis. This is my first time leaving the state. Ever like leaving, like moving to a completely new world. So I was like, I needed to take a break to really just get my finances in order, make sure, the crib is good, make sure, my lady's good, you know what I'm saying? Things like that. And like I always have this mindset, like, wrestling's always gonna be here. You know what I'm saying? Like regardless of what's going on in the business, you make sure your personal life is good first before you get back into this, because it'll affect you in the ring, you know what I'm saying? Like if you not mentally there, if your outside world is messed up, then it's gonna show in your work. It's gonna show in what you do, how you promote yourself, how you carry yourself. And for me, like I said, it's been several times in this business where I'm like, I just straight up want to quit and just say, screw it. You know what I'm saying? Let me just go work regular job and make, maybe I'll be happy, but deep down inside, that's not gonna make me happy. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's what I know about myself. That's what I've learned about myself these past 12 years is that like, make sure you're good. Like I'm saying, don't be a mark about this. Make sure your outside life is good, and then wrestling is gonna be here. This ain't going nowhere. You know what I'm saying? So, that's all that was. Yeah.
And then it's like, how have you adjusted to
life and
Oh, it's been good, man. And the number one thing, and shout outs to my fiance Sarah, but the number one thing out there for me is like the food, bro. Like the Chinese restaurant out there is bussin'.
Really?
Bussin'.
Really?
I'm telling you, I put that on everything. The food had to be good. I told my lady, I was like, you know what? If the food's not good, I'm not going, bro. I'm not giving up bacon, egg, and cheese, chopped cheese. You know what I'm saying? I'm not giving up all this.
the Chinese spots here be busting.
They be busting. I'm telling you, St. Louis. Mark, when you go there, if you ever go there, go to the Chinese restaurant. You know, you could go to A1 or you go to China Walk. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, it's good. But yeah, the food and just my fiance, she's actually from St. Louis. You know, her family's over there from the county part. So, and they've been helpful in helping me adjust to the move, and you know what I'm saying. So it's been good, man. It's been peaceful. I feel like I'm at peace. You know what I'm saying. I've never, like I told you before this, I haven't done an interview like this ever in my career. And I feel like now I'm at the point where I'm at peace and I could like talk about things and open up to, what's been going on. So
That's a beautiful thing to hear.
Yeah.
Like, happy to hear that you're in that place where you're.
Appreciate that. Yeah.
Damaged Goods 2.
Right.
Presented by PWJ.
Mm-hmm.
You were in a 5-way massacre match for the massacre title.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a completely ridiculous match in terms of there was ladders, tables, chairs.
Man, it was everything.
It was
We had
everything. Bodies was just everywhere.
Yep.
And you seem pretty comfortable around all those situations.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
Are you a big fan of that like style of match?
So this is, shout outs to Pro Wrestling Junkies. But a lot of people don't know. Like if you know, you know what I'm saying? But like I actually grew up, watching WWE, watching TNA. But like somewhere down that line, I ended up following deathmatch wrestling.
Okay.
Like in high school.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like I found out about Ring of Honor, I would say around 2008, because they used to always come down to 34th Street, Hammerstein Ballroom, Grand Ballroom. So one day I went to a show, you know what I'm saying? I was like, oh, I didn't know none of these guys, I would get like, actually, I'm lying. I knew Bryan Danielson based off like the Pro Wrestling Illustrated magazines. Like, who's this guy? He's best in the world or whatever. Somewhere down the line, I found out, okay, I was doing my history, going back, watching the old Ring of Honor shows. Somewhere down the line, they had a feud with CZW, Ring of Honor versus CZW. Mm-hmm. Through that feud, I found out about CZW. I'm like, oh, this is different.
Yeah.
This is different. Like, they using glass and light tubes. So I'm like, okay. I found out about like the backyard wrestling game, so like Sick Nick Mondo and all these guys. So I'm like, okay. So long story short, I'm like, I'm really getting into this. I'm getting into the feuds. And one feud that stuck out for me was Danny Havoc versus Sami Callihan, that feud they had back in CZW. And Sami Callihan actually stood out to me. Like, that was one of my favorite wrestlers at that point. You know what I'm saying? Because he was, first of all, his promo's phenomenal, but he could wrestle, like technical wrestle, do all that stuff, but also he could dial it up and go to, the deathmatch stuff. So I was like, this is interesting, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, this is more, they're doing more stuff than what ECW was doing and stuff. So it's like, I was always a fan of that proficient, that wrestler, you know what I'm saying? Or like a Rob Van Dam. Rob Van Dam could wrestle, but he could also do like the hardcore stuff. Right. So I actually did want my style to mimic that, you know what I'm saying? And thankfully, I've learned early, in wrestling that I do have a high pain tolerance.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
That's good for that, right?
I do have a high pain tolerance, and yeah, man, I'm usually the type of guy, like, if I'm in like a match like that, if it's a hardcore match, a ladder, steel cage match, I'm thinking about spots for the other guy to do to me.
Really?
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I know what I could do. You know what I'm saying? But I'm thinking about guys like, oh, how about I'll go to the top and you like give me a power bomb from here, or like maybe can I go through the table? You know what I'm saying? That's me. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what that is, but like, it's just, it's exciting to me. You know what I'm saying? So.
It's funny that you bring that up, because in that match, you get hit with a crazy sunset flip power bomb from the top of a ladder through a table. Yep. Was that your idea then?
Yep. Yeah. And shout outs to Gabriel Sky. Yeah. Me and him, I feel like that's one of like, definitely probably like one of my top 3 opponents. Like, we wrestled at least 10 times throughout the years. And we actually did that spot previously at a Remarkable show. Okay. We had a 3 Stages of Hell match. The first match, normal pinfall. Second match was tables, and the last one was ladder for the Remarkable Championship. And I was like, you know what? Like, one of my favorite matches of all time was Eddie Guerrero versus Rob Van Dam when they did that. So I was like, you know what? Let's do it. We could do it. I know I could do it. You know what I'm saying? So it just happened. And then when I found out I was on the Pro Wrestling Junkie show, I was like, okay, you know, I don't think he was in that match at the time. I think he like was like a last minute replacement. So when I found out he was in that match, I was like, rinse, repeat. You know what I'm saying? And the only difference is, and remarkable, I didn't go through a table. This time I went through the table.
Add a little something, you know?
Yeah.
And the next time will be through something else.
Yeah. And like I said, shout out Gabe Sky, you know, like I love working with guys that like, okay, you know, like for the good of the match. Like I'm not the type, like I said, I'm not the type of person that's like gonna just call my shit. Like I wanna have, you know, do something that's for the good of the match. So it's like, if it's something crazy that I'm taking, you know, if it's a guy that's like, yeah, let's do it, you know, I'm like, I'm with it, you know what I'm saying? He's one of those guys that's with it, so, you know, I appreciate him for that.
He is somebody who you just have incredible chemistry with.
Right,
And you guys just work so well together. And like, who are some other opponents, in your opinion, you think you have that same kind of energy with?
For sure, definitely Lio Rush. Lio Rush for sure. Like 2 of my best matches in my career was against him, literally.
I think a lot of people can say that about Lio Rush.
Yeah. Lio Rush for sure. Charles Mason is another one. We got great chemistry together. We've had a few matches. You know, honestly, I'd say Mark Quinn. Mark Quinn, for sure. Like we've had several matches, like on and off singles matches, tag team matches. You know, that they're out there. They somewhere out there. But you know, great chemistry with him. And he's another one of those guys that's like, you know, he's with it, like to do whatever. You know, he's with it to do whatever. Like I said, so it's like we've had matches. Myself and my late great brother, you know, rest in peace, Matt Travis. We've had tag team match for Game Changer Wrestling for the belts against Private Party, and blew the house off. You know what I'm saying? So I think those guys are the guys that I'm like, you know, we got great chemistry.
And going from like chemistry when it comes to opponents, then chemistry when it comes to tag teams. You're 1/3 of the Killionaires Club.
Yes, sir.
With Jay Bougie and Pretty Boy Smooth. And it's like, first of all, I told this to Bougie when he was here. Incredible name.
Yep,
Shout out, that's a super fire name.
Yes, sir.
Like, how did that all come together on like your side of it?
So the Killionaires formatted like this. This is how it went down. So you remember like my early years in House of Glory when I had Cash Flow Inc. And it was me, and it was, you know, I had my big bodyguard, you know, I had the valet, I had my right hand man. So, and it was cool, and it was a good look, you know what I'm saying? You know, shout out to those guys.
Come out with the fur coat too.
You know, fur coat and everything. The only problem was like, when it came to like taking like the wrestling aspect like serious, I was really the main one that was like, kind of just like wrestling, you know, for real. So it was more so like a look thing, and it worked, you know, it got over. I really wanted like somebody like a big man that could go. You know what I'm saying? And so I knew about Pretty Boy Smooth early on. And I actually wanted him to like be a part of like Cash Flow Inc., you know. And, you know, I wanted him to bring him into like House of Glory or wherever we worked, you know, as like my big man bodyguard. We could like tag team and stuff. So I knew about Smooth early. So Jay Bougie, I forgot which show it was, but we was backstage at a show one time, and then he just, you know, showed nothing but love, you know what I'm saying? Like came and said, you know, I love your stuff. Whoop the whoop. He trained at Johnny's and stuff. He's like, love your stuff, man. And he showed love, just, you know, showed me kindness, you know what I'm saying? Kindness. And I tell Bougie this all the time, you know, like I've known him for a few years now, but I've told him all the time, like he definitely reminds me of Matt Travis. You know what I'm saying? Like he reminds me of like the drive that Matty had, the brain, the knowledge, the just always wanting to learn and be better. You know what I'm saying? Like that's, like they're like comparison night and day, I swear. You know what I'm saying? And so yeah, that's like Jay Bougie is like my best friend for real. Like we talk almost every day, every other day. So that was just a no-brainer. It's like, you know, me, Bougie. So now it was like, okay, who else could we bring into here? And I was like, you know what? Let's get the big guy. Let's get Pretty Boy Smooth. And eventually he was with it. And, you know, thankfully ETU seen our vision, and the Killionaires Club was formed. You know what I'm saying? I had the nickname the Millionaire Killionaire for a while now. Yeah. So I was like, you know what? Let me just take that off Killionaires Club. You know, it just flows.
It does.
It just flows. Super, you know what I'm saying? So
with the purple varsity jackets too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I with that. So then it's like, how do you then, like, going into like a faction and a group, right? You then start working with each other, building off each other. Like, how do you make each other better?
I don't like using the word like, you know, aura, vibe, but it really is a vibe when us three are together. You know what I'm saying? We bounce off ideas with each other. And like we're not like a makeshift tag team. You know, like a lot of people think, oh, you know, just because we're at ETU, you know, it's like we're just ETU's project. It's like, no, like we're like real life, you know, friends and brothers. So it's like, it's not just us teaming up because we got to go to work. This is what we do. This is like, no, like we feed off of each other, feed off of each other's energy, positivity. And that's really where we get that from, you know what I'm saying? So we're really like locked in on the same page with a lot of things, you know, ideas, merch, things like that. That's really, you know, we come together and, you know, like I said, we bounce off the ideas and we just feed off of each other, basically. You know, iron sharpens iron.
You brought up his name a few times, Matt Travis.
Yep.
He was also a House of Glory member who unfortunately passed away. I never got the opportunity to meet him, but every time I hear people talk about him, they always talk about him in like the most positive light. And it's like you said, you did tag team with him as well,
Yes, sir.
and you just trained with him. You were around each other. Like what else can you say about Matt Travis, like his impact on you?
Matt Travis's impact on me, he left a huge mark on my life, you know, for the better, for the positive. Like Matty wasn't just, you know, like a trainee, you know, he was like a brother, like my best friend, literally like my best friend. Like Matty was the guy that he got me to break out of my shell and reconnect the bond I had with my dad before my dad passed away. You know, he's the guy that like all the times I wanted to quit being a professional wrestler, or I was like slacking. I was like, you know what, screw this, you know, screw everybody. He was the one that like calmed me down and told me, no, we got to do this. Let's do this. You know what I'm saying? Like we gotta put in work. And like a lot of people could say that about Matty, like just being around him, the energy that he gave off, like he wanted people and things to be better. You know what I'm saying? Like he always was like, and I'm introverted, you know, he's an extroverted one. So he's like, you know, talking to everybody. And it's crazy. Like when he passed away, like the amount of people that I didn't even know that he touched, that he like reached out to and showed love, like all the messages I'm seeing him, like, wow, like this guy was really like, you know, he was just selfless, you know, like really just selfless and just, you know, it's like words can't really describe like how kind or how great of a person he was, really. And it's unfortunate that happened. But yeah, like if I never met Matty in my life, like I probably wouldn't be wrestling. We wouldn't be sitting here today. Really? You know, like, and I feel like it's my job to pay it forward. I'm saying we was in the trenches together, like House of Glory, like sleeping on the mats, with the gate down, watching like All Japan and New Japan, like till 3 a.m. You know what I'm saying? Red giving us the keys, you know. Sorry, Ray, I gotta let the people know how it happened. But, you know, we was like up at the dojo just watching wrestling, watching tapes, practicing moves. You know, some days like no money, just hopping on the train to go to training and just, you know, like that's, like that was my brother, my best friend. And that was my first time experiencing death like that close. You know what I'm saying? I've had family members pass away, but like my best friend who I like talked to like the day before. Right. You know what I'm saying? So it was unfortunate. And like I said, I feel like it's my job to pay it forward. I can't quit being a pro wrestler. I can't quit wrestling because I know Matty's watching over me, and I hear his head every time I think even get the thought about giving this up. And it's like, no, I gotta pay it forward. And you know what I'm saying? If you know what I'm saying? Like I know Matty's looking over me, and I just want to make him proud.
Man, that's a beautiful thing. In your career, what do you think are some of your proudest accomplishments? Some
of my most proudest accomplishments, like I said before, like becoming the first ever Crown Jewel champion for House of Glory, becoming the first ever 2-time Crown Jewel champion.
First time and 2 times.
House of Glory, yeah, like I was, and that means the most to me because at that time, like House of Glory, we just had the heavyweight championship. Red and Brian, they wanted to bring in a secondary title, kind of like the Intercontinental title, like the secondary for like the students. You know what I'm saying? Because we was bringing in like guys fresh off TV or like top indie guys to you know, contend for the heavyweight title. So when they brought the Crown Jewel title in, it was like, okay, who's like one of the best students we have here, like that's been, you know, doing the things. And, you know, I appreciate the fact that they chose me to be a part of that. Eventually I got politicked against, you know, we're not gonna go into that. We're not gonna give the ops any light, you know what I'm saying? Somebody politicked against me, whoop the whoop. I got the belt back for a second time. And then that reign that I had as the Crown Jewel champion for my second title reign is, I feel like, what shaped the trajectory of my career to where it's at now, to where people's like know of me. You know what I'm saying? Like the matches against Lio Rush, the matches against Zack Saber Jr., Austin Aries, you know what I'm saying? Like that title really like molded me into like being like, you know, getting out there and opening people's eyes and whatnot. And I think another accomplishment for sure would be, and I know it's gonna sound cliche, but just sticking with it. You know, just accomplishment for myself. Like I feel like I wouldn't like have lasted this long, for real. Like I'm being so honest. Like when I say, I know I keep saying like, you know, I wanted to quit this, I wanted to give up pro wrestling, but I really wanted to give this up and just walk away a bunch of times. And just the fact that I'm still here and doing this and still wanting to give something back to the business and wanting to like prove something to myself, you know, is like a huge accomplishment, knowing like where I came from in my 20s.
Not a cliche at all. That's
yeah.
like that's one of those things where it's like, it's very easy to stop.
Yeah,
like,
very easy, you know.
Very easy. Well, man, thank you very much for taking the time and sitting down with me.
Yeah.
I truly appreciate it. Anything you'd like to plug to the cameras?
Anything I'd like to plug? You can follow me on IG, on Twitter, at CashflowKB. I'm not on Twitter that much, so follow me on IG. And, you know, shout outs to RingVille, man. You know what I'm saying? It's been a pleasure. It's been an honor having me. You know, so new music coming soon. You know, check out the Spotify, CashflowKB. Shout outs to my boy Myron Reed. You know, Evil Twins 1 and 2 out on Spotify. Evil Twins 3 might be on the way. I don't know. You just got to tune in to find out. But new music on the way. You know what I'm saying? Go follow me. Go holler at your boy. Go follow RingVille, man. Go follow RingVille. You know, if you're not following RingVille, you're doing wrong. You're doing bad. Go follow RingVille, man. This guy, professional. You know, this guy's a professional. He brought me in here. And like I said, I don't do interviews. There's not an interview you can find out there where it's me just talking as me. You know what I'm saying? So I chose RingVille. You need to do the same.
Appreciate you, I'm hard. Man, thank you very much. And everything will be in the description below as well. So you can find his Spotify, his Instagram, his Twitter, and all that. So,
yes,
man,
sir.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Sir. Until next time, everyone. We out. Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Right on, man. That was dope.